All right, welcome back, everyone. Like I said, my name is Eric Brodell. I'm our Business and Political Engagement Manager, and I'm joined by our Chief Operating Officer, Jen Dice, today. And we'll just jump right into things here.
Great. Thank you for coming, everybody. We are excited to present our 2020 work plan and what we will do to get more people on bikes more often and make every bike ride better for everyone. My name's Jen Dice. I've worked at PeopleForBikes for about 7 years. And a work plan might not sound like the most exciting thing, but for us, it is. It's how we direct our work, how we guide our work, how we prioritize. Every one of the organizations you work for has something similar, and we thought, why not show it to the world and make sure that members of the bike industry are part of the process and can see our programs and our direction. And we were sort of joking internally. We're like, how many people are going to show up for a 2020 work plan webinar? We wanted to host it anyway, but we have 170 of you that registered. So thank you so much for coming. We're really grateful. We'll have an opportunity for Q&A at the end, so you'll be able to type your questions in now or at the end of the very short presentation, and happy to answer any questions you might have. So we're going to launch in. A work plan is obviously the tool we use to guide our work. And our board last spring was reviewing some of our 2019 work plan work and said, we should show this to the entire industry. Why don't we mail it out? And so last spring, we literally mailed out about 4,000 work plans of the 2019 one. And this week, you should have gotten in your mailbox also. This week, you should have gotten in your mailbox we sent out about another 4,000 work plans of the 2020 direction of where we're going. And so if you didn't get one, send me an email, jen@peopleforbikes.org or jordan@peopleforbikes.org, and we'll throw one in the mail to you. We also have a digital link as well. But what you're seeing is just sort of an introductory letter from Tim and I of the high level things, what we're going to do. And with our recent merger with BPSA, July 1, we want to make sure that that the men and women of the bike industry, that folks can really see the depth and breadth of our strategic initiatives, where they have an opportunity to comment, where they might want to jump on board with a particular initiative or program, how they can engage, or honestly, if they have any concerns with our direction, that they can come to us and say, nope, we'd rather have you working over in this area, et cetera. So to remind everyone, the mission at People for Bikes is to get more people riding bikes more often and to make bike riding better for everyone. And everything we do with our work plan centers on growing participation, making sure everyone has access to great bike rides close to home, no matter what kind of bicycling they want and what community they live in. And we also think a lot about the bike industry. A big part of our mission is to make sure that the bike industry and bike businesses thrive. And you're going to see that rippled throughout our work plan. We thought we would share with you just sort of our internal core values. And we have a team in Boulder, Colorado of about 24 people. We've got a couple people in Washington, D.C. We have a handful of contractors that also work at PFB, mostly in communications and blog content and technology. But we thought we'd also show you what our core values are as an organization and as a group of people working on behalf of better bicycling in America. Our core values is that we believe in the power of the bicycle, period. We love bikes here and we believe on what it can do to help communities. Internally, we pride ourselves on working with a sense of urgency. We are not satisfied with bicycling in America and bicycling globally. And we're all passionate about our jobs to get more people on bikes and grow participation and help the bike industry. We are diligent. There's not a week that goes by that someone doesn't ask People for Bikes to go in another direction or do another project or tackle another initiative. And we're grateful and it's flattering, but we really try hard to make sure that our programs are strategically aligned, that they are effective, that they truly move the needle to grow participation and to help the bike industry thrive. Are they measurable and are they future oriented? We know this stuff doesn't happen overnight, and that we're in it for the long game to truly change cultures, hearts, and minds and grow bicycling across the country and across the world. We pride ourselves on starting with yes. We want to be in the business of helping people. And so we're always trying to connect folks solve problems. We value collaboration, stakeholder engagement, and strong customer service. And we have an amazing team here at People for Bikes right now. And if we have an opportunity to meet one of our team members, we'd love to introduce you because we truly have some great talent and some people who are really good at their jobs. So that's just a little insight into, as an organization, what our internal core values are. So the work plan, the one that you got in your mailbox or that we'll mail you or you can look at online, it is packed with detail. It is a very dense document. And so if you want to wade in, absolutely be our guest. We'd love it. It has our purpose, what we do, why we do what we do, if you will. And because there's not time now and we would take you in too much minutia, we're just going to highlight our 4 strategic programs and the 6 things that we're going to do for you in 2020. So we're going to keep it high level here, but please feel free to ask any questions about detail and specific programs. But the first program we want to highlight is our business network. That is the group of people that work on policy, advocacy, funding for bikes, access for bikes. These are the executives that go to Washington, D.C. or go to Sacramento, California, or your state capital and really lobby and advocate on behalf of better bicycling in America and initiatives that are important to economic development, jobs, and the growth of the bike industry. So we've had a fantastic 4 or 5 years now since we created the business network of engaging more and more people in our work, both at Congress and at the state and local level. So that's our business network. Our Places for Bikes program is really our infrastructure program. We know people do not ride bikes unless they have a safe, comfortable, fun place close to home. So the bread and butter of all of our work doesn't matter how good we are at selling products or any other parts of our nonprofit organization, if you don't have good bike infrastructure, people do not ride bikes. And so our Places for Bikes team works with cities. They have 2 measurement tools that are cutting edge. Our city rating system will rate about 500 cities in the US, half a dozen in Canada, about a dozen in Australia, and more. And that we help cities measure their connected bike networks and know specifically what they need to do for rapid improvement to grow cycling in their community. Our Places for Bikes program includes a lot of our equity and inclusion work. It also includes our youth initiatives. How are we growing the next generation of cyclists? How are we getting kids on bikes? And it also has also to fulfill our mission of better biking for everyone. So Places for Bikes is largely infrastructure, it's youth, it is equity and inclusion, and it's our measurement tools, our city rating, and our bicycle network analysis tool. A third program and a third core area to bring your attention to is RideSpot. That is our consumer-facing campaign, and it's all about decreasing barriers to cycling. We know people, the number one barrier to riding is people don't know where to ride that's safe and fun. And the number 2 barrier is they want other people to ride with. They need someone to guide them. And we sell a lot of bikes in the bike industry. And once those bikes go out the door, we really don't know what happens to them. Do our customers have a bad experience on a bike? Do they get buzzed by a truck? Are they in traffic? Are they not able to get their kids across an intersection to a great bike ride? Do they get in over their heads on a mountain bike ride? We've designed RideSpot with retailers and suppliers and truly from the industry ground up to be a consumer campaign to get our customers riding, to show them where to ride and to find people for them to ride with, and a lot of peer-to-peer support. We're going to be doing a retailer tour this year and going to bike shops and helping them get up on RideSpot and get their infrequent customers that maybe only ride 5 or 10 times a year. How do we get those same people riding 50, 60 more times and on their way to being enthusiast cyclists? RideSpot is our play to do that. And then lastly, membership and development. It is the backbone of our work. We could not do the work we do without the money and investment that the bike industry puts into People for Bikes. We have 170 dues paying members. And with the merger with BPSA, we have 42 brand new members that were never members of either organization. So we've gotten a lot of momentum recently with partnering with BPSA. Our membership and development program is also our employee pro purchase program. So if you're in the bike industry and you get a pro deal, there's about 6 brands that tack on a $20 self-tax, if you will. Our board a few years ago decided we needed to give more money out to community grants and to support other national nonprofits. So the employee pro purchase program is our industry grants program. This year, or actually in 2019, we invested all of our industry grant money into bike parks. How do we build more bike parks close to home so that we can grow youth cycling in America? So that's just a quick highlight of our 4 programs. And to be concise, we want to just highlight the 6 ways People for Bikes is going to put more people on bikes more often and grow your business in 2020. So the number one thing that's going to happen in 2020 for bikes is that Congress hopefully will pass a very big bill to spend a lot of money on this nation's transportation program. And in it, they're thinking a lot about how do bikes move around the country. So about 2 years ago, we started gearing up for this moment in time, which is 2020. And we formed a bicycle industry coalition, and that's bicycle infrastructure coalition. Doesn't sound sexy and exciting, but what it is it's the men and women of the bike industry, and it's a lot of our national nonprofit partners. It's also a lot of people that work in Washington, D.C. have been meeting monthly to gear up for this point in 2020, when Congress will decide, how big of a check to write for bikes. So if you've always been thinking about joining us in Washington, D.C. for one of our fly-ins, or honestly, if you would just do a meeting at your headquarters locally where you live, and we can invite a member of Congress or their staff to your headquarters, we'd love to do it, because this is a year to talk to them about how much they invest in bikes. And we're going for $2 billion for bikes per year in the transportation bill. We'd love to have you be part of that campaign. The other big thing with 2020 is it's an election year. So I guess that's not news to anybody, but in an election year, what might be news is that state and local governments have a lot more on their ballots. So people show up in November at the polls in droves to pass different initiatives. And just in 2019, we worked diligently on action alerts to support local advocacy groups and initiatives for more funding for bike infrastructure, for parks and open space. So in just 2019 alone, we landed $2.6 billion in the overall transportation, active transportation space, but $1.5 billion just for bikes. And what does that mean? That means thousands and thousands of bike projects, bike infrastructure projects, whether it's bike parks, whether it's single track trails, whether it's protected bike lanes, bike share, and more. And so this year, 2020, because it is an election year, we'll be twice as busy. So if you know of any ballot initiatives locally that have a positive side for bikes, we want to be there. We're in it to win it for them. We're going to help get people out to the polls and to vote for bikes in 2020. So that's a big deal for us. Number 2 is we're going to be helping cities build great places for bikes faster. Many of you have heard of our infrastructure programs, such as our Big Jump and our Green Lane project. Those programs are coming to a close, and the 3.0 version is called Race to 50. How do we help cities rapidly accelerate the number of people who ride bikes in their particular communities, in their neighborhoods, et cetera? And so we'll be doing some custom consulting work with cities so they know exactly what they need to double and triple people who ride bikes. And a lot of it comes back to our measurement tools. We can literally go into a city, work with them, spend a couple days really helping them analyze their bike network. And we can turn around and recommend to them the best investment of their resources to connect their network and to truly get more people riding. Another part of our Places for Bikes program is we do a deep dive in about 6 cities. And from those cities, we show rapid improvement and best practices for everybody to learn from. And those cities are like Austin, New Orleans, Providence, Denver, Pittsburgh. Austin is looking at putting in 100 miles of bike lanes. New Orleans, 75 miles. Providence, another 50 miles. I think Denver is at 75 miles, and so on. So between our Race to 50 program that helps all cities, and also our deep dive in particular communities, we'll be doing a lot of work to get cities to put better bike infrastructure on the ground faster. Next one is RideSpot. We are gearing up for a retailer roadshow, and a bunch of our supplier partners are helping us sponsor visiting bike shops. So if you have a bike shop or you're a supplier and want us to visit some of your bike shops, we want to help them get on RideSpot. And again, it's our industry campaign to get our customers riding. One important part of RideSpot is that it has consumer tools to reward your customers for riding and to keep the conversation going with them. So customer comes into your bike shop, you talk to them about the best ride for them, or I'm sorry, the best bicycle for them. With that bicycle, we can help you identify 2 or 3 of the best rides for that specific category. So you send the customer out, or better yet, invite them to one of your group rides. And when they do that ride on RideSpot, they get an automatic text that says, "Congratulations, come back into the store to redeem this prize for this great ride." So we have a lot of online tutorials at ridespot.org, videos for your staff, and we'll be making sure that we roll RideSpot out in your community, and happy to help there. Number 4, with the merger, it's an exciting time in that we have 80 new bike industry leaders volunteering for People for Bikes between our boards, our board of directors, our Bicycle Product Suppliers Association board called the Trade Association Committee, or the TAC. And then we have these 4 subcommittees, and they're new subcommittees, new and existing subcommittees as part of our merger. And that's kind of where the work gets done, where people roll up their sleeves and the industry shares their expertise, and the PFB professional staff gets the work done. We help with strategy, we help with execution. And it's been a fantastic partnership, and we really couldn't do it without the volunteer expertise of the BPSA and these 4 committees. One committee is the Legislative, Legal, and Safety Committee. We've been all tariffs all the time for the last year and a half or so. We saw some really great news today. But we'll be working on tariff issues, on exclusions. We'll be working on funding for bikes. We'll be revamping the owner's manual, are some of the things that Legislative, Legal, and Safety will be working on. On the e-bike subcommittee, it is all access all the time. Where can we make sure that we have class 1, 2, and 3, where appropriate, access to both on-road and off-road. And so the e-bike committee tackles model, state, e-bike laws, and appropriate management of EMTBs. The Research and Stats Committee, they work on sell-in and sell-through data, and their number one goal for 2020 is to improve the data quality. Is truly their highest priority, how to get more people participating, how to increase the value proposition, and how to do better analytics so that you as a business can be informed by our sell-in and sell-through data and make better decisions. And finally, our last subcommittee is called Marketing, Education, Membership, and Events. And they, right away this spring, will be producing the Bicycle Leadership Conference. And we're going to be thinking a lot about, how does our industry want to learn? How do they want to come together? How do we get the tribe together to connect, to learn, to network, and to grow? And so we'll start with the Bicycle Leadership Conference, but we're thinking about other meetups. We have our draft meetups for the bike industry to come together that are light and fast, but we know that there's many other ways people want to learn, gather, ride bikes, and be a united bike industry. So we're anxious to see that direction and welcome any of your suggestions. Number 5, we'll be busy getting kids on bikes and creating the next generation of riders. We have helped create a youth cycling initiative, and it's with some with national cycling groups like USA Cycling, USA BMX, NICA, Little Bella's, Trips for Kids, free bikes for kids, safe routes to school, and Project Bike Tech. So these national nonprofit groups were coming together to figure out, how do we get kids biking from age 2 to 22 and keep them biking through those critical years when they stop riding bikes and are distracted by other things? And we'll be picking a pilot city and seeing how we can help each one of those groups be the most effective they can be in that community. How can we cross collaborate? How can we make sure as kids age, they go seamlessly from one program to another, and we keep them involved and grow participation with kids? And finally, e-bike campaigns. We'll be doing more. We're going to be tackling 10 more states to pass model e-bike bills. We'll be looking a lot at where there's electric vehicle purchase incentives. So if you have a Prius or a Tesla or whatever, if you are getting an electric vehicle credit, we believe those states are ripe for an electric bike credit. And we've been trying hard to find a purchase incentive state, where California had a great win last year with purchase incentives, but we need more states as well. We'll also be doing a lot of rulemaking with the Department of Interior has made some big initiatives to open public lands to e-bikes, both on road and off. And we'll be doing a lot of work during the public rulemaking process to make sure that they're as pro e-bike as possible. Finally, we'd like to invite you to the Bicycle Leadership Conference. It's April 14th through the 16th. It's in Monterey. It leads up to the Seattle Classic. We present it with the Seattle Classic. And with the BPSA, we've been working to really refresh, reinvent, and add even more great keynote speakers to the Bicycle Leadership Conference, better networking, better breakouts, more bike rides, for example, and more fun. So we invite you to register. It will sell out. We're already at 60% capacity. So if you have been at all been thinking about joining the BLC, go and register today, because we know that we're going to have a lot of people on the wait list coming up in about a month. So we just announced Guy Raz is one of our keynote speakers from his famous radio shows. Also the CEO of Birkenstock. We've got a top leader from StoryBrand, how to market your company. We also have one of the original founders of Fast Company, quite a few breakout sessions and more. So please, I'd love to have you at the Bicycle Leadership Conference. So with that, we're to our Q&A part of the conversation. So all you have to do is type questions in the field to submit. And we're going over to the computer now to see what questions are coming in.
So Jeff says that he's seen RideSpot in a previous email, but he doesn't own a smartphone, so he didn't pursue it any further. We do have an online platform for RideSpot. And Jen, I'll let you explain that a little bit more for affiliates.
Sure, yeah. So it's super simple to run it from your desktop. We're really proud of our route finder. We spent a lot of money and a lot of time having the best route finder out there, and route builder, if you will. So from your bike shop, when there's a slow day, you can go in and literally create a route in less than 5 minutes. Throw in the route, throw in some pictures of the route if you have it, or some narrative about it, and pretty effortlessly post it to your Facebook account, Twitter, Instagram, to your shop feed. Bicycle Garage Indy recently crowdsourced a lot of their ride spots for their consumers. So they made it very public about putting a lot of ride spots in with their community, and then they pushed it out through social media and invited people to events. So that might be a good example to draw from of how to use RideSpot to engage on specific rides with your customer base. What criteria will we be using for our city rating system? So the city rating system, the backbone of it is the bicycle network analysis. It's about 178 calculations that go into a city rating. We rate 5 things. It's like network, ridership, safety, acceleration, reach, connectivity. And so there's different criteria, and I'd welcome if you go to PeopleForBikes.org and type in city ratings. We actually have the formulas behind how we rate cities on a 1 to 5 star scale. So it's, what do they have on the network now? Where are they going in the future? Are they reaching all communities, specifically underserved communities? What is ridership like? What is safety like? I'm trying to see here. Give me 1 second. What a question about our work in California. And we do a tremendous amount of work in California, as you can imagine, being the epicenter of the bike industry. I think we have, I think that there's, 205,000 individual People for Bikes members are in California. Of course, hundreds of retailers. So we do lobby days in Sacramento. We visit bike shops from a standpoint of ride spot, getting them talking to their customers through specific routes. And we welcome any local ballot initiatives in California. That last year, a lot of our local advocacy work was helping get more funding and access for bikes on the ballot measure. So when I mentioned the 1.5 billion in funding directly for bikes, a lot of those initiatives were in California, the way that they set up their funding sources. And so we'd love to do more work in California and just send ideas our way. Going to the next question here. Quick question on. We have a quick question on equity. Equity is at the root of everything that we do. It is woven into absolutely everything, from our hiring practices to the way we give grants to the way we write blogs to our Better Bike Share program. Equity is woven into our bicycle network analysis tool and the reach measurements specifically. It's woven into RideSpot and how we connect people and be inclusive and show folks welcoming places to ride. So it's definitely something that we live and breathe every day here at People for Bikes. And thinking about it's not just a box to check. It's really inherently part of our organization. Do you have any information about tariffs from e-bikes? Yep, you probably have seen the news from last week. We're really pleased to see that e-bikes are excluded from the 301 tariffs. Alex Logeman is our attorney here, and he's been sending out notices. So if you're not on our email list, make sure that you sign up so that you're getting these notifications. There is he is sort of navigating how you apply for refunds, and of course, we're pleased that increased tariffs are not kicking in the future. So you also might have seen that about a week or so ago, we found out that all kids' bikes were excluded. So people will be filing for refunds, and also knowing that the larger tariffs are not kicking in is music to our ears. So that we have a team of about 5 people that have been all tariffs all the time for the last year and a half. And of course, we've been really frustrated with the process overall. I think it's really safe to say that there's no industry that has done more than the bike industry in terms of comments to Congress, comments to the Office of Trade, leaders testifying in Washington, D.C., leaders having meetings back at home. We've done everything we can to fight it, and we're really grateful to see relief both with kids' bikes, e-bikes, saddles, helmets, and more.
And if you do have a question about more tariff-related things, you can email alex@peopleforbikes.org.
And we have a whole tariff resource section on our website as well, too. So the latest and greatest is all there. Alex just wrote a blog that's going out probably tomorrow that will update people more on how to apply for exclusions and what this means to your business. So some good news there. Another question is, are we involved in micro mobility initiatives? Absolutely. That's a big part of our work. Trying to think of the best way to summarize it. We are part of micromobility conferences. We very regularly speak in that topic area. We're part of coalitions in Washington, D.C. that we both joined and formed on micromobility. We do a lot of work on e-scooters, for example, e-mobility, e-cargo bikes, you name it.
Yeah, and that looks like that'll conclude our questions portion for today. If you do have further questions that you'd like answered personally, you can email me at ericb@peopleforbikes.org, and be on the lookout for this recording so you can send it around to your colleagues in the industry.
And the last thing we'd say is, thank you. We're grateful to all the members of People for Bikes that fund our work and fund our work plan. If you're not a member of People for Bikes, we hope you'll join and be part of this new industry united organization. We need you. We need your leadership, and we make it a lot of fun as well. So thank you for joining. Thanks for being part of our 2020 work plan discussion, and let us know if you have any questions or want to be part and to help lead our effort.